Well, hello there. So I did a little bit of skip ahead and went a little bit too far. So as you can see, I did my border. I went over the background a little bit more to get it a little brighter. And I also put in the overlay of blue color, which was a little brighter on top. And then I put white lines over it because I wanted a little bit more texture in the top sort of shape. So I'm going to go ahead and put another layer of coat over the background because I'm trying to make it a little bit more brighter for my taste. And I mixed the orange with raw sienna and a little bit of white. And that makes it pop a lot and not too much white. You don't want to make it too pasty. You don't want to lose the brightness of the orange. But it seems like every time I put the orange on, when it dries, it still gets darker, and that's what's going to happen pretty much every time you have a darker background underneath. It depends on the quality of the color or really what the color is going to act like. And since I'm working with these strange colors, the textile paints basically, which I haven't been able to even use on textiles yet because I haven't tried. I've been very timid about that. It just kind of going to act differently on a canvas. So um, I'm just kind of experimenting here. I'm going for different kinds of colors here because I'm going for the colors. I try to experiment basically and also learn from different colors how they act and how they are. So I'm adding a little bit more leaves. So I added the emerald green into it, just kind of like a little glaze that I mixed with the raw sienna again. Because when you put little muted colors around the brighter ones, it gives it a little bit more depth and texture, and it's going to kind of make the background a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to add a little bit more color to the flowers as well. So I'm using mostly the violet color and pink and orange to mix them in different shades and different brightnesses. And I'm going to just kind of make it a little bit more detailed, a little bit more interesting. And I'm also going to do little touch-ups here and there on the leaves, maybe make different colors leaves. I'm adding this ultramarine blue to it, which really pops within the green and just gives it a lot more interest. And then after that, I can again go in with the orange just to clean up any mistakes, even paint over some of the leaves, and just gives it nice glaze and again gives it more texture. So now I have this yellow color, which is like cadmium yellow probably. It's a pretty bright yellow, but still a little bit warm. And I'm going to use it to push some highlights into the border. And also, I use that color also to mix with that blue a little bit and just a touch of the emerald green. And I use that as a glaze for the blue and just kind of gave it just a really nice sheen. And then when I put the bars, the white bars over it, again, just kind of create an interesting border on top where I'm going to put the lettering later on. And then I used it for her dress. So again, I used a little bit of that yellow and emerald green, and I think a little bit of raw sienna to mix for the dress. And I just wanted her dress to stand out. So I wanted to be much brighter than the background, obviously. I always wanted to kind of make it clash, but still to be in sort of like the same kind of warm tone. And even though the green made it much cooler, that's kind of what made the kind of standout effect. I will still keep working on it and see what other colors I can add to the dress to make it just a little bit more three-dimensional and just a little bit more real. And then for the face, what I've decided to do is just mix sort of a peachy pink color, very light, and I'm going to use it as a wash in her face, in her neck, in her chest, and her hands. Just do a very simple face and to start with, and then eventually I can start playing with the shading. And as the base for the hair, I simply just took the raw sienna and experimented with just putting the raw sienna in and see what direction that's going to take me. Now, I have been kind of practicing or kind of studying colors lately and just really trying to figure out their effects in painting. And sometimes when you put very similar colors next to each other, so let's say I have the orange in the background, and instead of making the hair just really dark, make them to stand out, which sometimes we think that's the best thing to do. But for me, it's been just really making my paintings very fragmented. I like when there is just a really sort of gradual transition from one color changing into another, being next to each other. It makes the painting to me just a little bit more dreamy than if it was just, really dark brown, or sometimes I would even make the color hair purple and or just really really dark blue even to make it look really dark, like kind of like a raven black. So in this case, I'm just trying to see what it would look like if the hair was just very similar to the background, and just kind of makes it, I think, a little bit more sensuous, and then it also kind of brings out different directions in your paintings. And then I'm going to experiment with shading the sleeve, which, as you will see, I'm kind of going to struggle with this one. Again, I didn't want to make it too dark, but eventually to make it to a 3D effect, I'll probably go into like a little more darker colors. And in the image, she has this really sort of heavy, rich necklace. And I was thinking maybe I will make something smaller. So I'm just gonna start very tiny here and mix some uh, sort of orange color just to kind of show the idea of a necklace, and then see if I can put again a little bit more contrast in it, and then using that orange again as shading for her hands. Starting very slow with a touch of color here and there. And again, as I don't usually have any kind of direction to begin with, I just have an idea what I would like to do. All these things, all these colors applications just are pretty much an experiment. So now I'm mixing a little bit of the emerald green with some blue to make really dark color, something that would be really contrasting. And I'm going to use it to add the small dark details like her eyes, the eyebrows, underneath her nose, her nostrils, and then maybe just a little bit more lighter colors for the lips. Maybe you can start with just a line between the lips, like a shadow. And starting very gingerly and small again, because remember, learned that lesson when you put something dark on, it's even if you go with lighter colors on and they're opaque, you can still kind of see that. Um, so the effect of the dark, it will always kind of mute the color. So even though this is not um, watercolor painting, if we wanted to keep a brightness of the color, we still might want to just go really light on the dark colors and just use with the light colors. And her chest, her décolleté, her face is still nice and bright because I haven't used any kind of shading in there. And eventually I will start using darker colors. But I'm trying to really just kind of read that painting and see what it needs. And, my process is always a lot of layering. And eventually I've done in my past paintings a long time ago, I remember I was painting this one painting and I was so frustrated with it. It wasn't just going my way that I eventually took a piece of paper and just pasted it over the face and started all over again because um, it was getting really pasty, and I think my frustration didn't help. And it was getting just worse and worse. And I think the best thing to do when you're just really frustrated with something and you feel like no matter what you do, it just keeps getting worse and worse, is to let the paint dry completely. Because I found that even if you think it's dry and you keep painting over it, it just becomes a paste. So the best thing is just to walk away for a day or two even, and maybe sand it a little bit, and maybe even put a gesso over it, because gesso is just really great at covering things. And then just start all over. I've done that many times before. So starting to add a little bit more shadows, a little bit more color, and then we'll see where that's gonna go. So as you can see, just gonna play around with adding more light into the dark, and then again playing with some shadows. So I kind of like this process. It's very playful. If it goes well and I can really pay attention and not be overly hectic and trying to get someplace, and just kind of just really stay with the process and just um, try to read the painting, read what I need to do internally, the image that I'm trying to kind of portray. It usually tends to go pretty well, and it's a lot of fun. But if you're trying to get someplace in just a really kind of hurried way, sometimes doesn't work so well. So I'm just gonna kind of let you watch my process here with a little bit of music, so you can kind of watch along, or maybe follow me along and see if we can do something together.
Admiral on the beat. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's always been the same story. It never changes. So I've been making changes. It's always been the same story. Just different faces in different places. It's funny when you tell your story. It always changes. I see what your game is. And now it's all his story. I'm in different spaces. 'Cause I've been there. I've done that. I'm gone. I ain't coming back. 'Cause I've been there.
You're alright.
I've done that. I'm gone. I ain't coming back. I can see your new romance invitation. Unfortunately, I have to decline. I think I'm fine. I'm in line. I won't fall for it this time. 'Cause I've been there. I've done that. I'm gone. I ain't coming back. 'Cause I've been there. I've done that. I'm gone. I ain't coming back. Sneaky. Sneaky. Sneaky club. Sneaky club. Sneaky.
Thank
you're saying I've changed up. Now you're saying I've switched up on you. Think I'm being someone different, but nah, baby, listen up. I've grown up, too wise for the games you play. I'm better than the old me from back in the day. I had a version of me doing me heavily. I let it go, taking in good energy. Oh, why is it? Oh, why is it? You don't wanna congratulate me on how I've been lately, how I act on the daily, how I don't fall for your old tricks, how I don't entertain your chick flicks, how I don't come over and chill for your Netflix, how I ain't in one of your latest Instagram pics.
So the final thing I have to do is put her rose in her hands, and that's the last thing I have to do here. So thank you so much for visiting me for this project. I really enjoyed creating it for you. I hope you are able to follow me along. And if you want to see the finished piece, come to my website, artentive.net. I'll post a link right after this. And it's under free videos. You can watch this whole class there. And I will always also describe how I added the final lettering in the top border there. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this project, for this painting. I hope you were able to get something out of it or maybe create your own, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.